Hello, friends. How you doing? Welcome to another episode of HPA Global Insights. I am your host, Jeff Crowther, Executive Director of HPA Global. And today we're going to talk about Southeast Asia's supplement market. And I'm here to welcome my friend, Ms. Joe Jing, the Business Director of TMO Group. Jing, how are you?
Hello, hey Jeff. Nice to meet you again. Yeah, I'm great. Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, today we're going to do an update because we did one before about a year ago or so. We're going to talk about Southeast Asia and supplements. You have a nice PPT or PDF put together. So let's go dive into that and take a look.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to share our data intelligence white paper just recently released on the 2025 Southeast Asia food supplement market. This white paper is from a executive overview leveraging full year Shopee platform data last year, covering 6 countries in Southeast Asia: Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia. So we normalize all local currencies into USD for easy comparison. We've identified a substantial 2.5 billion market opportunity driven by a core market. So the total market size based on 2025 Shopee data stands at 2.53 billion USD. You can clearly see Thailand and Malaysia collectively holding 46.5 of total revenue. Well-being products dominate with a 52% share, but beauty supplements are rapidly growing, now at 18%. We also observe a clear seasonal pattern with a Q2 peak, a Q3 dip, and a strong Q4 recovery. So this market presents a significant growth potential, but understand this dynamic is crucial for strategic positioning. So let's have a look. We developed a four-tier strategic framework to classify these markets. So tier one, comprising Vietnam and Indonesia, represents a mega scale markets, accounting for 34.9% of the share, where scale driven investment is key. Thailand, tier two, is a premium structured market with a 27.4% share, characterized by brand driven purchasing. Tier 3 includes Malaysia and the Philippines, the expansion market, which hold 27.3% share and offering high volatility but significant upsides. Finally, Singapore in Tier 4. It's famous for the high income niche market with 10.3%, where a premium margin focus is essential. So this framework helps us to tailor investment strategies to each market's unique characteristics. Um, let's have a look of a regional market share. So we can see Thailand clearly leading the regional market share with 27.4, generating around 695 million in revenue. Indonesia follows the second, generating around 484 million, primarily driven by sales volume. Malaysia is a close third, contributing around 468 million, showing a strong performance, especially in Q4. Vietnam contributing around 400 million, but with a high growth momentum in this region. The remaining 90.1% is splitting between Singapore, the high margin market, and Philippines, which offers a high volatility. When we look at the product category breakdown, So you can see well-being absolutely dominate with a commanding 52% share, totaling a 1.3 billion revenue. So this clear reflects a strong regional focusing on the holistic health. Beauty supplements are fast-growing categories, capturing 18.1%, driven by the trend of beauty from within, particularly strong in Thailand and Singapore. Weight management holds 14.7% of markets, which highly promotional sensitive. Strong performance in Indonesia, while fitness accounting 12.9% and its high average order value, AOV, niche but loyal customer base. The remaining 2.3% falls into other categories. This slide highlights variations in product preference across the region. So we see Thailand, for example, has the highest share of beauty supplements, indicates a more matured, brand-driven market. In contrast, Indonesia market is heavily dominated by well-being and weight management products, reflecting a consumer base focusing on functional needs and often responsible to promotions. Vietnam presents a most balanced product portfolio, you can see, suggesting a diverse consumer demand and market resilience. So when we look into the over a year momentum, we can see a quarterly breakdown reinforce that Q2 is the crucial revenue driver. Q2 contributes approximately 30% of the annual revenue, making it an annual peak driven by major campaigns. For example, Double Five, Double Six. Q3, as expected, showing a seasonal softening, where the focus shifts to cost control. Q4 then deliver a strong recovery, particularly in Vietnam and Malaysia, driven by year-end sales event. Thailand, you can see, consistently lead in Q2 and shows over a year resilience also during the Q3 dip. So this data indicates that investor and brands should concentrate market budget and inventory in Q2 and Q4. Q3 offers a strategic window for the inventory clearance and loyalty maintenance. So now let's look into the individual market. First, let's dive into Indonesia, a crucial market with around 484 million valuation. Indonesia represents a value engine in this market, leading in total transaction count. So this is driven by its massive, young, and digitally active population. Consumers here are highly sensitive to promotions, with purchasing decisions heavily influenced by price offs and vouchers. The category mix is functional focused, dominated by well-being and weight management. So our strategic approach for Malaysia must be skill-driven, requiring a robust supply chain capability to handle high volumes. Marketing efforts should concentrate on mega sale period for optimal conversions. Vietnam. This is a market to represent the best long-term compound growth potentials in the region. While currently it holds the fourth position with a market size of 400 million approximately, represents 15% of the total. But we can see a distinct year-end clearance in these markets with a very dramatic Q4 surge driven by the Pratik, which is Lunar New Year campaign spending and aggressively platform campaigns. So it can show the expenditure power, but this market also boasts the most balanced product portfolio across well-being, beauty supplements, and weight management, which reduce the reliance on any single product line. The strategy here is supposed to be growth first, prioritizing Vietnam for a long-term capital appreciation. As an early entrance to build brand equity with a benefit before market consolidation. Thailand, which stands out as a premium margin market with strong brand loyalty. Thailand is the largest market in this region, commanding around 695 million, or a 27.4% the total market share. It's characterized by high penetration of beauty supplements, accounting approximately 20% of the market, indicate a very strong beauty from within trend that supports higher price points and better profit margins. So this market also shows remarkable stability with lowest monthly volatility in this region, making it as a ideal cash cow. Consumer here are favor established trust brand, so our marketing efforts should focusing on brand building, influencers and endorsement, and scientific credibility rather than just price-based promotions. So now let's consider Malaysia and Philippines, which offer a mid-tier expansion opportunity. Malaysia, with a market size around 468 billion, it's a steady expansion market with a mature digital infrastructure. And it also shows a significant Q4 rebound, making it crucial for year-end profitability. And our strategy is supposed to focus on robust expansion through a consistent brand building. The Philippines, which have a smaller market size around 224 million and an 8.8% of share, representing a high potential growth, but still significant high volatility, with a monthly revenue fluctuating significantly based on the promotion intensity. For Philippines, we recommend a long-term bet, entering early to build a loyalty while managing expectation for short-term volatility. Last one, let's turn into Singapore, a high margin niche market here. Despite its smaller size, but offering significant strategic value. Singapore market size is around 260 million, representing 10.3% of the regional share. But it boasts the highest average order value and profit margin. Consumers here are prioritizing quality, origin, and brand reputation over price, making it a premium-focused market. Beauty and well-being category combined account for the highest share of the wallet, with a strong demand for anti-aging, collagen, and the premium holistic health products. We see Singapore an ideal innovation test bed for launching premium SKUs and testing new concepts before rolling them out to other regions. So our product portfolio strategy centered on building a strong core around well-being products while aggressively accelerating growth in beauty supplements. Well-being products like multivitamins and fish oil provide a stable volume and recurring revenue. They are sort of cash cow. Brands should focusing on retention and subscription model here. Beauty supplement, on the other hand, offers high margin and rapid growth. Especially in Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore, brands should invest in aggressively in brand building and social commerce to capture the young generations. Finally, weight management and fitness products will serve as a tactical tool for consumer acquisition during the peak seasonings. So you should use this for a flash sales to drive traffic. The balanced approach aim yeah the our balance sorry this balanced approach aim for a target mix of 50% core, 30% growth, and 20% tactical products. But this strategy also needs supported by a seasonal campaign efforts. What are the growth drivers? So four growth drivers for a sustainable expansion for the Southeast Asia food supplement market. First, the health awareness surge post-COVID. So while consumers increasingly reviewing supplements as a daily necessity, second, beauty from within trend is accelerating. As younger demographic integrates ingestible beauty product into their routines, especially in Thailand and Vietnam and Singapore. Third, Shopee Mall increasing penetration in building consumer trust in its official store, favoriting established brands. The last, cross-border expansion by international brand is introducing a lot of innovative products and education consumers, expanding the total addressable markets. So this drives creating a robust foundation for the investment opportunities. But we still wanted to consider the potential risks that could impact the invest strategy. First one is regulatory tightening across all the countries. Southeast Asia is a key concern, potentially increase complying costs and delaying product launches. And we also see margin compression due to intensity competitions, rising platform fees, which can cause the profitability reduce. And it is not if it is not managed proactively. Furthermore, changes the platform algorithm can dramatically reduce the original so the furthermore changes in platform algorithm can drastically reduce organic visibility, impacting product exposure. The last, certain market exhibit a very strong promotion dependency, leads to a very weak baseline sales outside of the campaign period and creating cash flow volatility. So To mitigate these risks, I think the brands should establish a dedicated regulatory compliance team, diversify sales channels, and invest in brand equity to reduce price sensitivities. So, considering the growth driver and the risks, our 2026 market outlook projects a significant expansion, with Vietnam poised for the highest growth. Overall, we project the total market size to reach around 3 to 3.2 billion, represents a 18 to 22% compound annual growth rate. We anticipate brand consolidation, while top-tier brands will gain market share due to its abilities to manage customer acquisition costs and maintain the high retention. The beauty from within and anti-aging segments are expected to accelerating, with a project growth rate of 25 to 30%, driven by younger demographics. Vietnam is forecast to deliver a highest year-on-year growth at a 20% to 25%, fueled by rising disposable income and rapid digital adoption. TMO is a digital commerce agency based in Shanghai, Chengdu, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Amsterdam. So we are long-term observing Southeast Asia markets. So we capturing the major platforms like Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, Tokopedia for health supplement market for a better insights.
Hey, Jing, thank you so much for that. All those insights and numbers, some great information there. I have a few questions. I noticed, of course, this report was focused on Shopee, and I know you do track other platforms. What was the reason behind just going with Shopee for the report?
Why Shopee data? Shopee obviously over last several years is a stable and obvious market leader for these regions. In most of the countries, exceeding 50% of the market share, excepting in Indonesia. In Indonesia, it's around 40 to 48%. The rest goes into TikTok and Tokopedia. But for rest of the countries, exceeding 50% of the market share. So with these single sources, which we can give a more clear or direct comparisons to give a primary insight for these markets. It's worth to notice that TikTok is very high growth in Southeast Asia. I mean, if you are interested into TikTok shop, how it grows rapidly in Southeast Asia, maybe we can have another episode to talk about TikTok store.
Sure. Well, since I'm sitting here in America, I'll just use America as an example. Let's just say I'm an American dietary supplement company and I'm looking at this region. What would be your suggestion as if we had to choose one country to start with? And also on top of that, being from America, an English speaking country, is there any advantages? Just thinking off the top of my head, like Singapore, is an English speaking country. Would it be easier to penetrate, or is that not part of the deal?
Yeah, I think so. I think in terms of a cultural similarity, like Western culture penetration, I think Singapore and Malaysia could be a recommended market to enter first. Singapore, I think English speaking, and also with its like a high expenditure. Most consumers appreciate well trusts brands, and it's also like I shared in the presentations. It's the brands can introduce innovative products as a test market. Malaysia offers bigger markets, but it's kind of mirroring Singapore. They share quite a similar consumer behavior. But in Malaysia, there are also large populations into Muslim country. So it can be later on mimicked to other Muslim countries like Indonesia. So I think um, Singapore, for its high margin and innovations, and for Malaysia will be also a test market for its shared a similar culture to Singapore, and also bigger market, and also the market for the rest Muslim countries.
Okay. And then we saw from the presentation, well-being was the top category, followed by beauty. Do you think that the beauty category, you did say it is growing rapidly. Is it going to catch up and surpass well-being?
The questions, I think the whole market growing rapidly, but um, still, well-being is a kind of necessities for most of the consumers. Um, but beauty, especially for Thailand, Thailand, Singapore, and Vietnam, I think it has high potentials. But when they talk about surpass, I don't really think in the next 3 to 5 years this is gonna happen. But um, yeah, the most and like this trend, like especially for Southeast Asia countries, consumer has a trend like the beauty from within is definitely a rapid growing trend. I think it will this category will increase growing, but from my opinion, I don't really think it's gonna be surpassed.
Yeah. And I think beauty from within to some degree, anti-aging is another really big category here in America and across the Europe. And I think they kind of overlap a little bit typically. I mean, part of anti-aging is staying young, looking, and that's part of beauty to some degree. So I don't know how those will interact in the future in those markets. Um, Now let's just bring China into this a little bit, not directly, but just comparatively, the China market is dominated by a handful of brands that are always the top. They're always in the top 10, always controlling kind of that market to some degree. Southeast Asia, I would imagine, has a couple kind of brands you'll find everywhere, but then I would imagine that it's still quite fractured and there's, country by country, there's going to be a whole bunch of different local brands across those regions. Do you see that area becoming like China as a region? Like there'll be end up being like 3 to 5 brands that kind of control everything more than 50% of the market.
We can see one or two international brands are very successful across all these countries, but still, this market is still in a very fragmented period, especially in Indonesia, Thailand, and they have a lot of local brands. So the brand concentration in this market still leaves like far more space for new brands coming in. When we notice the top 10 brands are still contains a very small, I want to say less than 20% of the total market share. So it gives quite a good like a space for new brands to coming in.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it's more fragmented than I thought. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that brings us to the end of this. If you have any questions up for Joe Jing or myself, please email us. We'll have a little card at the end with our email addresses on it. Thank you so much, Jing, for doing this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And until next time, thank you for joining you at home there, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.